Hello and welcome to TechFunnel.com's interview series. My name is Danny White, and today we have the opportunity to talk to Jeff Bullas. Jeff Bullas is a digital entrepreneur, author, marketer, and international keynote speaker. He works with brands to optimize their global digital brand with emerging technologies, content, social media, and digital marketing. He has spent most of his career involved with information technologies, telecommunications, and the web. Since starting his blog, jeffbullas.com, he has educated and inspired over 30 million people to transform their lives and their businesses. Among his many accomplishments, he was featured on Forbes as a top 20 influencer of chief marketing officers and the #1 global content marketing influencer, both in 2018. Welcome, Jeff. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Hi, Danny. It's great to be here.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your work in the digital marketing world.
Yeah, I've been in tech for quite a long time, and it's part of the PC revolution, which is pretty exciting. And then we got involved with the internet, which for me, just, the potential of that was staggering. That was back in 1995. But what really got me excited was discovering social media 11 years ago. It was this year. Mm-hmm. So I remember I was going out with a lady at the time, said, "You should get on Facebook." So I got on Facebook and went, wow, I've noticed the ability to connect people globally, which, being from a country like Australia where we're fairly remote, we're a long way from the west coast of the USA, like 15 hours. We're 9 hours, to Hong Kong and Singapore.
Oh, wow.
So Australia's quite a remote place. So for me, it has a special significance with social media. I noticed had this ability to actually connect us to the world without having to beg the gatekeepers or pay the media moguls. Mm-hmm. Because in the past, to get your name out, you basically had to pay for it. And this is sort of evolving again, but in a different sphere. But I noticed people's obsession with social media, and I said, wow, this is really fascinating to observe people's behavior. Mm-hmm. And I sort of read a book by Tim Ferriss called The 4 Hour Work Week, which a lot of people have heard of, which inspired me to create, some form of digital business potentially. It was just an idea at the time. I read David Neiman Scott's New Rules of Marketing and PR, which talked about the ability of online content to actually attract an audience to you rather than chase it like we've done in the past with, cold calling. So I said, I like David's concept because I've been used to, doing a lot of marketing and sales and even cold calling. And I said, well, if you can actually write and create content, I'll attract an audience. So and then I read the third bit of inspiration for me was that blog post by HubSpot. It said, if you have an inkling what to start a business on or what you want to write about, start a blog. So in March 2009, just 10 years ago, I started a blog and gave it the very creative title of jeffbullas.com because I couldn't think of anything better at the time. So that's how it all sort of started. And it was just mainly because of the observation of what social media could do and also people's incredible obsession with it. And nothing much has changed except what's happened is we've added another obsessive layer of technology, obsessive layer on top of that called smartphones. Mm-hmm. So not only do we have an addictive type of tech in social media that allows us to connect with human beings globally, easily and cheaply, we've added another layer on top of that. It's the perfect storm. And we've just observed over the last decades, we've seen apps, like Uber that actually have changed taxi industry globally. We've seen Airbnb. So what we're observing is an incredible change to business. It's only really just started. Mm-hmm. So the next 50, 100 years is going to be fascinating. There's no doubt about it. It already is. So, that's some of the things that happened. And for me, the next challenge was, okay, I'll start the blog. How do we go from there?
Awesome. So you have definitely started a very popular blog, and I've even read a couple of posts on your blog, very intriguing, interesting information. What would you attribute your blog success to? And what's like your content creation process, your writing process? What does that look like on a weekly basis?
So what happened was a lot of the mantras that happened with content marketing, bound marketing, was you've got to think like a publisher.
Mm-hmm.
So what I realized early on was that you need to create content consistently and persistently. So early on, I decided that I would do that. So I started with creating one post and writing 2 or 3 days a week. And then I realized as I was starting to get some attraction and some global attention, I went, you know what, if I really up the game, we might be able to even do better. So what we did is the next 4 years, I used to write late at night. And then I discovered I got up one morning to take my son to work, catch the train, I think he was, and I was up early and went, well, I can write now. There's no one around. It's my time.
Mm-hmm.
So I started to write early mornings. And for the next 4 years, essentially 5 days a week, I got up at 4:30 a.m. and wrote and then published by 9 a.m.
Wow.
That was one of the reasons I think the blog went to a whole new level.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I realized early was that it's great to create content, but you got to really think like a publisher, and a publisher is always about building distribution.
Right. So
the other part to this equation is not only creating the best quality content you can, and I don't mean perfect content.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't publish because they're afraid of being judged or think it's not going to be just right. So the web gives us the ability to actually publish easily. And yes, there can be typos. And I don't tell you how many times I've been accused of bad grammar and poor spelling. So the grammar police used to show up all the time, early on especially. So I decided that I need to build distribution. And this was the days when Twitter and Facebook had very, great organic traffic.
Mm-hmm.
So I concentrated on Twitter, and I proceeded to build a Twitter following, and got about 570,000 today.
Wow.
And when, up to about 2013, 14, social media gave you a lot of organic traffic for free. So number one, I suppose I was lucky in terms of I was participating on the web when you could get organic social traffic. That's changed a lot since 2014 as the landscape's changed from free to pay to play. So the final piece of the puzzle is creating the best content you can, and then is building distribution, and then continue to experiment with that combination.
So what has been the most surprising challenge or change that you've seen across the digital landscape as you've been in the industry now for several years?
I think the biggest challenge for everyone was when Facebook started evolving its algorithms to pay to play. In other words, reduce organic reach incrementally over the next 2 or 3 years. That's certainly been the biggest challenge any participants in this ecosystem. So everyone's trying to work out how can I actually get distribution at the lowest possible cost, because when it's a pay-to-play environment. So one thing I think a lot of people, especially bloggers such as myself, online publishers, is a lot of growth hacking. In other words, trying to work out how can I use different tools, different platforms, different distribution means to actually get my name and brand and get sales. So the latest one that's evolved over the last year or two now is chatbots. So we've been focusing a lot on building email, Facebook Messenger subscriber followers. So we've got nearly 12,000 now. We've been doing this for about a year because we've got a lot of good traffic. The traffic then, by giving away something for free and opt into an ebook, we can build our Facebook Messenger subscribers. And the open rates and click-through rates for Facebook Messenger are much, much higher than email, up to 500% to 700% higher. So we've been experimenting with that the last 12 months, and it's another game changer. But I think what's going to get interesting over the next little while is how Facebook develops its algorithms for that.
Right.
And how it plays the game in the messaging space, because it has talked about combining all the messenger tools, from WhatsApp through to Facebook Messenger to Instagram into one. That is going to be a fascinating development to watch. And then the marketer's challenge, the business's challenge will be actually how do I work with that?
Would you say that marketers should focus their attention primarily on social platforms and digital platforms as opposed to email, or should it be 50-50?
I wouldn't even say 50-50. I would say you've got to think multi-channel marketing.
Mm-hmm.
One big game changer for us, as social dropped away and as the email open rates has continued to fall, is we've devoted a fair bit of time to optimizing our website for search engine traffic. So the old acronym SEO.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's been around a long time. Yes, it sounds boring. Yes, it's quite technical.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, we focused on it, spent a fair bit of time and money about 18 months ago and saw very little result. SEO is a long game.
Mm-hmm.
But today, by doing that, we've actually added about another 1.5 million visitors a year by focusing, putting some attention on SEO.
Mm-hmm.
SEO is really sits in two areas, or the two things you need to focus on. Number one, content. And when I started off, I just created great SEO by creating the best content I could and doing it consistently.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not enough. You've got to concentrate and focus as well on the technical aspects of search engine optimization.
Right.
Make sure your site loads fast. It's viewable on mobile. It's in great categories. It's got a site map. You're doing pillar content. So it's a lot of technical work that needs to be done. And for 6 months, we hardly saw any change. And we were sort of expecting that because we were making some significant changes to our site.
Mm-hmm.
But today, that investment has paid off in spades. We get that extra, and we're approaching 2 million visitors a year just by doing SEO.
Wow, awesome. So would you say that SEO is more of the long haul game when one is starting out?
It's basically everything's a long haul game except for paying for advertising. An email list takes a long time to build. Building a Facebook Messenger subscriber list takes a long time to build.
Mm-hmm.
But if you really want to amplify that, well, you need to pay for it. And if you want to get traction fast and get quick results, well, you need to work out how to be really good at Facebook advertising.
Mm-hmm.
And how can you do that cost effectively? And we've been experimenting with using video ads between 5, 6 seconds up to 15 seconds long using technology from a company I'm involved with called Shuttle Rock, which can increase your conversion rates by 50% using video ads that we create from static images. So it's always, as a marketer, as a business person, you're always in the hunt for doing things more efficiently, better processes at a lower cost, doing more for less.
Right, absolutely. What are some of the evolutions that you think will have an impact across the digital landscape over maybe the next 5 to 10 years?
The big one's artificial intelligence and machine learning. That's got huge implications. I think we're observing some of the new platforms that some of us haven't heard about that use this extensively. In fact, at Shuttle Rock, with the creation of ads and video ads, we're actually starting to use AI to actually optimize our ad creation for our clients, which performs best, and then move quickly to the ones that actually best results. Excuse me. The one, give an example. I think there's one of the platforms that's using AI and machine learning extensively is a platform called TikTok. I don't know if some of you have heard of that, but started September 2016. It's a China social media video-centric platform that uses looping video and 60 second, and it creates around memes. But a lot of the tech is driven by AI and machine learning. They have over 500 million users globally now in just over 2.5 years. I think the application of AI to content creation, whether it's video, is a bit of a game changer. So those two areas, AI and machine learning, have the biggest impact. And they can take away a lot of the drudgery of what digital marketing and social media marketing can be, which is spreadsheets and analysis and
Right.
quick learning and optimization. So, and that's the two areas to watch.
Awesome. Earlier in our conversation, you mentioned some of the books you had read that had inspired you early on in your career. You've now created a very extensive and comprehensive blog at jeffbullas.com. What are some of the other blogs online that you think can be useful for digital marketers?
Okay, so early on, there was Copyblogger was one, Dave Meerman Scott's blog was another. Tim Ferriss has some really cool stuff on marketing, not so much now. Who else? Social Media Examiner, Content Marketing Institute. I read different blogs for different reasons. Some were very good at helping you refine your writing style and find a voice. Others are much better at certain areas. There's another one I'm looking at reading more is put together by Larry Kim, who's creator of Mobile Monkey, which is about Facebook Messenger marketing. So I think it depends on where you wanted to focus on, what resources you want to use or read. But yeah, there's a few that have certainly been great for me over the years.
Cool. What's the best advice that you've ever received as a content marketer or as a writer?
I think playing the long game. That's absolutely important. There's a great quote by Bill Gates. Bill Gates said most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year, but underestimate what they can do in 10 years. And the reality is that most people give up too soon, at maybe on the edge of success. The reality is you've got to play a long game. We've been playing the game now for 10 years. It took me, I suppose, 2 or 3 years to really get some serious traction. But, that's a lot of people will write a few blog posts and just hope the world's going to show up. The reality is much more different to that. You've got to be persistent and say, okay, I'm going to play this as a long game. And that's why we've invested in things like building lists that take years, building search engine optimization authority by writing, 5,000 to 6,000 word blog posts. So the other tip for me that I'm just watching other business owners and entrepreneurs is essentially deciding to not only play the long game, okay, but just become more efficient. Okay, in other words, processes. A lot of people don't look after the nuts and bolts. If you're not good at that, then the reality is find someone who is. They can make sure your taxes are paid on time. So for digital entrepreneurs, okay, it can be a fun game, but don't forget to do the essential stuff for taxes and processes and the accountants. That will take away a lot of pain in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jeff, for joining us today. We really appreciate your time. Thank you for sharing all of your insights about the digital landscape and for sharing information about how you came to create your blog. Very interesting stuff. Guys, thanks for listening to this interview. For these and other interviews and topics, please visit techfunnel.com. You can connect with us across social on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram, and subscribe to our weekly newsletter so you can stay up to date on everything that's happening in the industry. Thank you so much, Jeff.
Thanks, Danny. It's been great to be part of the show.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.